Good evening. You're watching our election special coverage, India Votes. I'm Sana Khan. Over the next 30 minutes, we get you all that's happening across the country as in a few weeks, the nation gets ready to elect the 16th Lok Sabha. Let's take a look at the headlines. Another hectic day of political rallies as Rahul Gandhi and Narendra Modi address multiple rallies across the country. UP Police registers FIR against Congress candidate Raj Babbar for allegedly violating the Model Code of Conduct. After expulsion from DMK, former party leader MKagiri made sister Kanimori after meeting Mother Dayalu Ammal on Wednesday. And for the first time in the history of the state, voters in Assam will be able to use voter identity cards during the Lok Sabha polls. Hitting the campaign trail today were some of the biggest heavyweights in the Lok Sabha polls, while BJP's prime ministerial candidate nominee, Narendra Modi, continued with his whirlwind tour across the country. Congress Vice President Rahul Gandhi was in the northeast. BSP Chief Mayawati, NCP Chief Sharad Pawar, Bihar Chief Minister Nitish Kumar and Odisha Chief Minister Naveen Patnaik were some of the other leaders in action today.
As the countdown for the first phase of Lok Sabha polls begins, political parties have raised their poll pitch. Thursday was yet another hectic day of road shows and rallies across the country. Star campaigners like Rahul Gandhi and Narendra Modi had a tight schedule with multiple rallies in different states. While Congress Vice President Rahul Gandhi hit the campaign trail in the northeast, addressing rallies in Assam and Nagaland, BJP's PM nominee Narendra Modi held 3 back-to-back rallies in Bihar and Jharkhand. Both leaders hit out at each other in their election speech, projecting their respective parties as the only good alternative before voters.
2004 में उन्होंने इंडिया शाइनिंग का गुब्बारा उछाला, भरा उसको हवा से भरा, जैसे हॉट एयर बलून कहते हैं ना भैया, हॉट एयर बलून को भरा और छोड़ दिया, और जब वोट खुले, जब मशीनें खुले, तो गरीबों ने उस गुब्बारे को फाड़ दिया।
यही इलाका है जो धान का कटोरा माना जाता है, लेकिन यहां मुसीबत ऐसी है, फसल ज्यादा हो जाए तो भी किसान मरता है, फसल कम हो जाए तो भी किसान मरता है। और इसके लिए अगर कोई जिम्मेवार है तो दिल्ली में बैठी हुई सरकार जिम्मेवार है।
There was a bit of commotion at Modi's rally in Gaya. The incident took place after some supporters entered the media enclosure. Meanwhile, BSP Chief Mayawati also took her party's campaign outside Uttar Pradesh. She addressed a rally in Amravati, Maharashtra, where she took on both the Congress and the BJP.
हमारी सरकार द्वारा पूरे देश के उद्योग जगत में लगे मजदूरों के हितों का भी हर मामले में विशेष ध्यान रखा जाएगा, अर्थात इनका किसी प्रकार से भी कोई उत्पीड़न नहीं होने दिया जाएगा।
Days after making a controversial remark on bogus voting, NCP Chief Sharad Pawar returned to campaigning in Thane. Bihar Chief Minister Nitish Kumar and his Odisha counterpart Naveen Patnaik too held rallies in Jahanabad and Ganjam districts of their states respectively. With the polling days just around the corner, campaigning by parties is expected to touch a crescendo in the coming days. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
An expelled DMK leader MKagiri met his half-sister Kanimori today at her residence in Chennai. Even though there's no official word about the meeting, speculation is rife about what was discussed in the meeting. It is important to note that supporters of both Agiri and Kanimori have been somewhat sidelined, while supporters of MK Stalin have been given preference during ticket distribution. The meeting comes just 2 days after Aragiri was expelled by his father M. Karnanidhi from DMK. On Wednesday, Aragiri had also met his ailing mother Dayalu Ammal while the DMK chief was away campaigning. Aragiri has clarified that he will not be contesting elections this time. He, however, has indicated that he may float his own party after the election. Moving on, an FIR has been registered against a Congress candidate from Ghaziabad, Raj Babbar, for carrying his roadshow beyond the stipulated time in Pilakhwa area, violating the Model Code of Conduct. Police said that the actor-turned-politician had sought permission to organize his roadshow till 10 p.m. on Wednesday night, but despite his request being turned down by police officials, he continued with the roadshow late into the night. As a result, an FIR has now been registered against him for violating the Model Code of Conduct. A probe has also been ordered to investigate the matter, and electoral officers have been informed of it. And in a first, voters in Assam have received their photo identity cards. Till now, they were forced to take some other document for identification for voting. The state government is lauding the local administration for the achievement.
In a major move boosting electoral rights in Assam, residents have received their voter identity cards for the first time. In previous elections, people used to carry other documents on polling day to cast their vote.
Definitely, this is the greatest success in our tenure. We have been able to provide a voter ID card to every voter. You see, so it has given a little dignity, prestige to every individual. That is our greatest success we have done.
The recipients of the photo ID term it as an important step.
কামৰ কাৰণে যাম আমাৰ এটোৱে প্ৰমাণ হ'ব আমাৰ এটোৱে আমাৰ চিনাকি এটা থাকিব পাৰিম আমি কৰিবলৈ
प्रथम बार मिला है असम में एक हाथ हम ये लेके वोट भी दे सकते हैं सब कुछ हम लोग का सुविधा इसमें बहुत सुविधा है हम लोग पहले बार मिला है बहुत खुश हैं हम
Assam will go to polls in 3 phases. Security measures for the polls have been intensified to ensure peaceful polling.
We will be deploying the required amount of armed police as well. We've got 8 companies of Sikkim armed police from outside for the election duty, and we'll be deploying force with our sector officers and zonal officers as well.
5 seats will go to poll on April 7th, while 3 will vote on April 12th and 6 on April 24th. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And battle lines are drawn as candidates in Sirsa Lok Sabha constituency in Haryana gear up for polls on the 10th of April. The ever-changing political equations in the constituency make it an interesting fight.
With over 1,75,000 young voters in Sirsa and an ever-changing political equation, the Lok Sabha elections in Sirsa throws up an interesting contest. While State Congress Chief Ashok Tawar is trying his luck for the second time, the BJP-AJC alliance in the constituency has its hopes set on Haryana Janhit Congress's Sushil Kumar Indora.
मैं तो सबसे प्यार बना के जनता के बीच में रह के जनता की सेवा करूंगा और जो जनता की भावनाएं होंगी उसके अनुरूप मोदी जी प्रधानमंत्री बनेंगे और मैं एमपी बना तो इनकी भावना ले जाके उन तक पहुंचाऊंगा और वो सारे काम.
To boost its prospects in Sirsa, Haryana's main opposition, the Indian National Lok Dal, has announced the candidature of Charanjit Singh. Singh recently quit the Shiromani Akali Dal to join INLD.
हज तक उन्हां दा सिस्टम ठीक नहीं होया ना तो वो अज तक किसी पिंड च बड़े वोट मंगने वास्ते आजे इनैलो ही पार्टी दे वर्कर ही वोट मंग रहे हैं कांग्रेस दा वर्कर या लीडर उन्हां दा जो खड़े होए आ हज तक वो वोट मंगने वास्ते नहीं आए क्यों नहीं आए क्योंकि जनता तो डरदे आ.
With elections drawing closer, Sirsa-based Dera Sacha Sauda has also assumed significance for all political parties and candidates. DSS enjoys a considerable following in Haryana, and the last time round, it has supported the Congress. Their decision on who to support in 2014 is still awaited. Palak Sharma's report from Sirsa for Rajya Sabha TV.
And Karnataka's Chikkaballapur seat will be witnessing a high-profile electoral tussle between Union Minister Veerappa Moily and JDU's Kumaraswamy. The district is also notorious for the quality of its drinking water. That is causing life-threatening diseases in many cities and villages. Here's a more detailed report.
60-year-old Dasanna looks much older than his age. He cannot walk. His body is racked by spinal ailments. Not only him, his children also suffer from serious dental ailments. Welcome to Chikkaballapur village in Karnataka, where the water table is rapidly falling every year. The borewells are yielding water with high levels of fluoride, slowly poisoning the villagers, making the agricultural land barren for cultivation.
फ्लोराइड से पामा आता बिंगे टिंगे बाजे दांत ये गिरना अब उन्होंने बोले जैसे औरतों के लिए कमर का दर्द सुबह उठने होता नहीं सर का दर्द काम करने नहीं होता ये तमाम शिकायतें हैं
వర్షం తక్కువ ఇక్కడ బోర్ వేసినా కూడా వెయ్యి ఇంకా పైకి నీళ్ళు పడవు దాన్ని ఇంకా ఫ్లోరైడ్ అన్నీ కొంచెం చిక్కుతాయి దాని చిక్క ఆ నీళ్ళు తాగితే అవి ఆ నీళ్ళు తాగితే బరీ నొప్పులు జాస్తి వస్తాయి ఇక్కడ పొద్దున్నే లేచేకి అయ్యలేదు 20 ఏళ్ళ పిల్లోడు 60 ఏళ్ళ వయసు వాళ్ళు అక్కడ అయిపోతుంటారు దాన్ని ఇంకా ఇక్కడంతా ఫ్లోరైడ్ అంతా ఇక్కడ కడతా ఉంది.
The acceptable limit for fluoride in drinking water is 1.5 milligrams per liter, but Chikkaballapur has 2.9 per liter. Drought is endemic. Successive governments under SM Krishna and under Devegowda promised water through river diversions from the Western Ghats. The present government started the Yetinahul project, but that is also mired in controversy.
This is a very serious problem. If you don't come out with some, substantial water supply program, within 2 years, perhaps the day will come when all these people in the five of the districts, including my district, will definitely, migrate from this district. That is the kind of a disaster we are facing.
The Chitravati river is a sole lifeline in the village, but it's hardly enough. Scanty rains complete a dismal picture, forcing the villagers to migrate to neighbouring Andhra Pradesh. The seat is represented by Oil Minister M. Veerappa Moily. The JDS is fielding former Karnataka Chief Minister H.D. Kumaraswamy from the constituency.
Drinking water is a minimum requirement for any human being for his survival. But for villagers in Bagepalli, with shortage of drinking water, they have to consume the water that contains fluoride, in effect to which many of the people here are handicapped. With camera person Manoj in Bagepalli, Raj Rao, Rajya Sabha TV.
Time for a short break. After that, we talk about big issues from the state of Kashmir to Kerala. Stay tuned, I'll be right back. You're watching India Votes. The border between India and Nepal is fast turning into a security concern for India due to rampant Naxal activity seen in these parts. Border security forces have pointed out confirmed reports of anti-India activity by China on the Nepal side of this border. Here's a special report.
Poorer sections of this 631-kilometer-long India-Nepal international border under forested area of the Valmiki Tiger Reserve are a rising national security threat. Till a decade back, the area used to be a hiding, recuperating and training ground for Naxals operating in India, with plans to link it to the Red Corridor leading into Nepal.
I'm standing next to pillar number 394 on the India-Nepal border. I'm on the no man's land. It doesn't make a difference whether I'm in India or in Nepal, because it's an open border, a friendly border. Behind me, as you can see, is Nepal. And I'm standing very close to the integrated checkpost site. The area is densely populated and very porous and difficult to manage.
Monitoring of the area by Indian security forces began in 2001. Naxal training camps and safe houses were removed, but the threat is ever prevalent, demanding a constant and close watch, with the Sashastra Seema Bal warning of a bigger game plan by China.
They are trying to influence the border population on the other side by coming out with China study centers, by trying to teach them Chinese language. Now, whether it is being done for some helping purposes to the Nepal police or not, but we have taken this development on our borders with a pinch of salt.
Bordering districts of Bihar are the most immediately affected. The Naxals generate funds here by terrorizing locals and demanding levies. Reports say 25 lakh rupees are raised here every year for bigger activities within India. The issue is a huge concern for Indian security agencies, with any solution encompassing local policing, terror activity, international relations and more. Amritanshu Rai, Rajya Sabha TV.
And for more details on this particular issue, you can watch our special program, Naxalism, Changing Tactics. That's on Agenda 2014 at 10:30 tonight. Now, moving on to one of the major issues that will likely have its impact on the outcome of the poll is inflation. Rising prices have been a cause of concern for people for the last few years, especially in Jammu and Kashmir. This issue is dominant. People in the valley say they will choose a leader who can address this particular problem. Have a look.
As India heads for the Lok Sabha elections, issues like corruption and inflation remain some of the core concerns. Residents of Jammu and Kashmir are no exception. The voters demand a solution to the crisis of the common man. They are also pressing for politicians who can address these issues.
हम लोग यही चाहते हैं कि अच्छा आदमी आए. कोई इतनी महंगाई हो गई है, बिजली पानी सब महंगा है, पेट्रोल डीजल, कोई सुनता नहीं है गरीब आदमी की. हम तो यही चाहते हैं कि अच्छा आदमी हो, हम उसको वोट डालें. आजकल सबसे बड़ा मुद्दा पहला तो भ्रष्टाचार का है. भ्रष्टाचार बहुत हद तक हो गया. किसी भी दफ्तर पे जाना हो, किसी ऑफिस में जाना हो, भ्रष्टाचार के बिना काम नहीं होता है. पैसे दे दो तो काम होता है, नहीं तो एक फाइल को एक जगह रुकी रहती है, वो जब तक पैसे नहीं तो फाइल आगे जाती नहीं है. दूसरा महंगाई का मुद्दा है. आए दिन पेट्रोल डीजल के दाम बढ़ जाते हैं, तो पेट्रोल डीजल के बाद दाम बढ़ने से खाने पीने की चीज़ों को असर पड़ता है, वो भी सभी महंगी हो जाती हैं. तो हम तो चाहते हैं कि कोई ऐसी सरकार आए जो इस पे लगाम लगाए, भ्रष्टाचार पे लगाम लगाए.
Lok Sabha polls will be held in 9 phases staggered between 7th of April and 12th of May, and the results will come out on 16th of May. Kashmir will go to polls in 5 phases starting 10th of April. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Focusing on southern India, Orissa's tourism operators are all set to turn the upcoming elections into a business opportunity. And what's more, the Election Commission fully approves of their unique idea. Take a look.
Tourist operators in Odisha are finding the upcoming elections a good time to try out a new experiment. They're selling election tourism packages. Visitors to the state will be taken on tours designed to capture the election excitement.
This 2014 elections, with so much of campaigning going on with parties, we thought, why not we give an experience of the democratic process, the largest democratic process of electioneering in the country, coupled with the vibrant culture of the state.
The travel agencies have notified the Election Commission about their plans. The poll panel has commended the idea, while cautioning that it should abide by the Model Code of Conduct.
वो पूरी कहीं पे कन्वेंसिंग चल रही है, या मास कैंपेन हो रहा है, बड़ी रैली हो रही है, ये जो कैंपेन के लिए डिफरेंट व्हीकल्स मूव कर रहे हैं, और जो पोलिंग स्टेशन के बाहर भी जो हलचल है, ये सब उन टूरिस्ट को वो दिखा सकते हैं. तो इसको हम भी प्रोत्साहन देते हैं कि अगर वो इलेक्शन प्रोसेस को भी दिखाना चाहें टूरिस्ट को, तो ये बहुत अच्छा इनिशिएटिव है.
Odisha's tourist operators will be finding out just how interesting will visitors find the state's elections. Although the election tourism experiment has been earlier tried in Gujarat as well, operators say it had a great deal of success there. Panchanan Mishra's report from Bhubaneswar for Rajya Sabha TV.
And the coir industry is a big revenue earner in Kerala. The technological backwardness has become a major hindrance for the industry. With elections round the corner, Rajya Sabha Television travelled to God's own country to explore the problems of the coir industry.
Kerala accounts for the export of 99% of India's unfinished coir products, and despite a slowdown in demand from Europe and the United States, the state hopes to achieve total sales of 7,500 crore rupees in the next 5 years. But the industry is facing a shortage of coir fibre due to the home-based nature of the trade and insufficient distribution of husk. The coir industry in Kerala gets to use only about 50% of the coconut husk available, while the rest is used for other purposes, mainly as fuel in rural areas. The shortage is now forcing units from Kerala to shift base to neighbouring Tamil Nadu and Karnataka.
The കയറ് ഇതൊക്കെ വളരെ കുറച്ചാ വരുന്നത് ഭയങ്കര വില അതുകൊണ്ട് ഇത് നടത്തിക്കൊണ്ട് പോകാൻ ബുദ്ധിമുട്ടുണ്ട് ഈ ചെറുകിട ഫാക്ടറിക്ക് അപ്പോൾ അതിൻ്റെതായിട്ടുള്ള ബുദ്ധിമുട്ടുണ്ട് അത് ഈ നില തുടരുകയാണെന്നുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ ഈ പണി നിന്നുപോകും പണി നടത്തിക്കൊണ്ട് പോകാൻ പറ്റാതെ വരും.
The issues are many. Workers often complain of health problems, low earnings and inadequate job opportunities.
ഒരു ദിവസം പണിയെടുക്കുമ്പോൾ 40 രൂപ 45 രൂപയൊക്കെ ഒരു ദിവസം കിട്ടും. അത്രയൊക്കെ ഉള്ളു. കൂടുതൽ വേതന ഒന്നും ഞങ്ങൾക്ക് ഇല്ല.
ഇപ്പോൾ ഈ നമ്മളെ കാര്യങ്ങൾ പറഞ്ഞാൽ മതിയല്ലോ. ഈ തൊഴിലില്ലാതെന്ന് പറയുന്നത് ഇപ്പോൾ ഈ മറ്റുള്ള തൊഴിലേക്ക് ആളുകൾ പോകുന്നത് കൊണ്ട് ഈ രംഗത്ത് തൊഴിലാളികളില്ലെന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ പുതിയൊരു തലമുറ ഇതിൻ്റെ അകത്ത് പഠിക്കാനായിട്ട് വരുന്നില്ല. കാര്യം എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ അവർക്ക് ഈ ഫീൽഡുമായിട്ട് മുന്നോട്ട് പോകാൻ പറ്റുന്നില്ല.
The depreciation of the rupee and lack of proper marketing are the other major issues.
Some sort of a minimum understanding price with an exchange control scheme can definitely save the exporters. Marketing, practically nobody is doing anything about it. It is not the type of marketing that we used to do earlier.
The coir industry of Kerala, which until a decade back contributed around 60% of the world's 3.5 lakh ton coir fibre production, has seen its production come down drastically to about 1.2 lakh ton.
The coir industry plays a very crucial role in the development of rural areas in Kerala, and a lot of people depend on it for their livelihood. Financial assistance and technical upgradation is needed to provide impetus to this sector and also to encourage entrepreneurs to venture in this field. Reporting from Alapi in Kerala, Kriti Mishra for Rajya Sabha TV.
Now, Chandni Chowk may be Delhi's smallest constituency in terms of area, but being Union Law Minister Kapil Sibbal's seat, it gives it a high stature. The seat has always seen a two-way contest between the Congress and the BJP, but the entry of the Aam Aadmi Party has ensured it will be an interesting fight this time around.
Chandni Chowk, or the Moonlit Square, is one of the oldest, busiest and most famous areas of Old Delhi. Also known as the Walled City, Chandni Chowk is embellished by historical monuments like the Red Fort on one side and religious centres like the Jama Masjid and Srishganj Gurudwara on the other. But encroachment, illegal construction, traffic jams and a lack of cleanliness are a major blemish on this otherwise beautiful and historic part of Delhi.
सबसे ज़्यादा प्रॉब्लम ये ट्रैफिक जाम की है जो आज तक उसका किसी ने हल नहीं निकाला. उससे भी बड़ी प्रॉब्लम है पुरानी इमारतें जो है जर्जर इमारतें हैं.
हमारे यहाँ के कपिल सिब्बल जी 10 साल से यहाँ सांसद रहे हैं, लेकिन आज तक उन्होंने यहाँ किसी भी प्रकार का कोई भी विकास नहीं किया है.
In 2004, Congress's Kapil Sibbal won the seat, defeating BJP candidate Smriti Irani, and in 2009 he retained it by defeating BJP's Vijender Gupta. Locals allege that Kapil Sibbal's busy schedule as a union cabinet minister doesn't leave him with any time to address their problems.
चांदनी चौक के साथ मुझे लगता है कि अभी तक न्याय नहीं हुआ है. चांदनी चौक हिंदुस्तान की रूह है. हिंदुस्तान का इतिहास बिना चांदनी चौक के नहीं लिखा जा सकता. वक्त आ गया जब चांदनी चौक को इंटरनेशनल मैप पे ले जाया जाए.
10 साल के अंदर उस कॉन्स्टिट्यूंसी को जितना मैंने समझा उसको इग्नोर वगैरह किया गया है. उसकी प्रॉब्लम्स को स्टडी करेंगे, लोगों से समझेंगे, उन पर गंभीरता से काम करेंगे.
But in his defense, Kapil Sibbal lists out his achievements in the area, and as union minister, he is confident the people of his constituency will acknowledge his good work and vote for him.
अंडरपास हुए हैं, ओवर ब्रिजेस बने हैं, मेट्रो की सुविधा आई है, तो वो तो प्रदेश के स्तर पे काम हुए हैं. अच्छा, और जो राष्ट्रीय स्तर पे काम हुए हैं वो भी हमने किए हैं, चाहे वो राइट टू एजुकेशन हो, चाहे वो लोकपाल बिल हो.
Congress had won all 7 seats in Delhi in the last Lok Sabha elections, although this time factors like anti-incumbency and the rise of the Aam Aadmi Party will pose a tough challenge for Kapil Sibbal and his party. Pranav Goswami's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
That's a wrap on this edition of India Votes. I'll be back tomorrow same time with more election news. Till then, goodbye.